Good afternoon, Mace. So, this is in continuation to our group's report for the significant works and sonnets of Shakespeare. So, this part we've decided to choose sonnet. Specifically, I chose Sonnet 18, and later on I'll discuss why. But for Shakespeare's sonnet sequence is comprised of 154 sonnets that were published in 1609. The vast majority of these sonnets are addressed to an unnamed, attractive young man who represents beauty, praise, and love. The traditional Shakespearean sonnet has 14 lines comprised of three quatrains or four-line stanzas and one rhyming couplet. So that's two-line stanza. The poem was written in iambic pentameter, meaning each line has 10 syllables. As for the historical context of the sonnets, uh, yeah, as I have mentioned, it was published in 1609, but those were actually written sometime in 1590. And little is known about the composition of Shakespeare's sonnets and how much of it is autobiographical. In addition, scholars have long speculated that the subject of Shakespeare's sonnets is a young man. However, after much debate among scholars, it is now generally accepted that the subject of the poem is really a male. There were edit attempts making the subject a female, like replacing he with she or him with her. But scholars soon realized that the sonnets were originally addressed to a young man, and it became quite controversial because it sparked debates or rumors about Shakespeare's sexuality of possibly being gay. Although the nature of the relationship between the two men in these poems is still ambiguous and is impossible to tell or conclude whether Shakespeare is describing platonic or romantic love, and that remains a debatable topic. So the entirety of Shakespeare's sonnet, it has 154 poems. uh, Sonnet 1 up to Sonnet 126 is addressed or is dedicated to a fair youth, which, as I have mentioned, uh, is speculated to be or has been debated to be a young man or a young male, while the 127th up until the last poem, the 154th sonnet, is for a dark lady. Now, the reason why I chose Sonnet 18 is because it is so famous. Uh, it is justifiably considered as one of the most beautiful verses in the English language. And the reason for that is because it addresses a very human fear that someday we all will die and likely will be forgotten. So the speaker or the poet of these poems insists that the beauty of his beloved will never truly die because he has immortalized him or her in the text. And looking at the actual poem, Sonnet 18, it's titled "Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day?" So the poem opens with the line, shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" His lover is compared to summer in the first eight lines, as more lovely and temperate than a summer's day. So as you can see, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. So I personally struggled understanding the poem because of the words that he used. I believe these are already archaic. But yeah, going through with the explanation, the first eight lines were comparing the lover to a summer's day. But at the ninth line, his beloved becomes the summer, stating that thy eternal summer shall not fade. And with the ninth line of a sonnet often being the volta or turn of the poem, the beloved has become the very standard by which true beauty can and should be judged. The latter part of the poem marks a more intense tone exploring deeper feelings. So it's basically Shakespeare expressing like how he adores or how he admires the subject of the poem, which is again, a young male. Shakespeare responds to such joy and beauty by ensuring that his beloved or his lover's beauty will last forever. And that is evident, or that is depicted by the lines, like, the last lines, which says, "So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee." So that basically means that he eternalized or he immortalized his own views or his appreciation to the person that he likes. And as for the themes, well, obviously it's all about love, courtship, and stability. And with the controversy that has risen for, you know, the fact that the subject is a male, we can also add up gender or sexuality to its themes. And that's everything I have for this part of the report, the Sonnet 18. Have a good day, miss.